香織に会いたいわ。ゆえやしやキヨにも会いたい。それでね、南雲くんを好きになったっていうわ。どうなるかわからないけれど、もう少し素直になってぶつかってみる。
そうか、それなら早く合流で。おい八重樫、今お前。
香織、待っててね。今からわがままな私を見せに行くから。
𝐒𝐮𝐩𝐸. Okay, this episode was a really, really good episode. But here's the thing. Next episode looks crazy. I never really do this during our reviews because I want to talk about this episode, but next episode's preview looks crazy. It's gonna be featuring Yue and Shia, and like just take a look at next episode. Like this looks just super duper wild, and I am super excited about it. Like, hopefully I don't get copyright first, but just take a look at next week's episode. Like just a land of just bodies and waste, and it looks crazy. And Yue, as a reminder, is the vampire princess. So next week's episode, the overpowered vampire princess and the godlike rabbit's grand battle. Like, oh, it's gonna be such a good episode. So yeah, next week is set to be really awesome. Now, when it comes to this week's episode, my friends, one thing I will say is I was a little bit disappointed at Tio's fight. This episode was centered around Tio, and it was basically like just, you know, I think what was this episode's name? Don't quote me on this episode, but anyway, it was around Tio, and although it did 100% feature Tio, my main problem with the episode was like it went through super quick. So we came in and we got greeted to, you know, the very chef's kiss Arifureta, you know, perfect horrible animation, the horrible 3D animation with the 3D dragon of Tio, and I was like, oh god, please no, please get this, my eyeballs. But thankfully they had her go back into her human form, and just some of the fight scenes sometimes Arifureta are just like they're just so laughably bad, and I love it for it. I think it's charming, but it's just so bad. It's so bad. So then she goes, and the other girl goes, and then they go, and they're just fighting back and forth as they monologue. But what it was trying to do was show that through all of Tio's past transgressions and experiences, she felt a lot of happiness in a sense of getting her revenge and, you know, doing things that are considered awful. And in my head the whole time I'm thinking like, well, yeah, if a body of power, an empire, a church in her case, or a god or whatever, right? If they wiped out your clan, wiped out your family, wiped out your everything you knew, yeah, it's gonna feel good getting revenge. Like I don't think anybody would not think that, right? Like, yeah, it's gonna feel good, like destroying them. Like, you know, you're getting your revenge. That's the whole point of sweet revenge, you know? Now, at the end of the day, does revenge actually make you feel better? 99% of the time, no. But it's still something that you're like, I had to do that kind of thing. It kind of feels like a responsibility. Now, the way I'm describing it is better than it was actually done because it was just depicted really, really quick, and she basically got one over on her evil version of Tio pretty quickly, and the fight ended up being over. And of course, at the end of it, we're greeted with some Tio masochism and some comedy, you know, some comedy relief there of like, oh, I wish Hajime watched me, you know, he would be scolding me and stuff like that, you know. She gets off on that stuff, which we can all really appreciate. That's kind of what makes her character. But I just felt like it was over too quick, and I feel like it could have been like, as we look at next week's episode, right, we see Yeo as we see Yue on a battlefield of corpses, and it seems like it's gonna be like this really deep, meaningful moment. We just didn't get that for Tio. Now let's rewind a little bit. Shizuku this episode was the biggest focus, and I'm 50-50 on how I feel about it. The 50% of me that really loves it, loves the fact that this has now spurred her to confess that she's in love with Hajime. This has spurred her to confess that she's in love with Hajime, to his face. She was like, I need to go tell the girls that I'm in love with you. And he's like, yeah, you need to go do it. He's like, whoa, 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 whoa. He's like, whoa, 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 what? You know what I mean? And although I think he could put two and two together, I think he kind of did already. The fact that she was bold and was saying it was something that just kind of really caught him off guard. I also really loved the moments that they shared where, you know, he got her out of her rut, out of her own mind with presenting, you know, he's like, okay, here's the pink, here's your pink mask. It has all kinds of powers. It'll help you with regenerative abilities. And she was like, I'm going to go fight, like I'm going to die to not wear this mask. And I thought that whole interaction between them was really funny. And it kind of got her back and recentered once again. And he kind of got her back to a good place. And then I do also love, and maybe it's more like 75% love, 25% not love. I do also love as she's getting ready. She's like, okay, she's grabbing her sword. She's like, okay, I'm going to go take this thing down. She's talking to him. She's like, okay, if I'm in danger, you'll save me. He's like, yes. If I'm about to die, you'll heal me. Yes. Or like, if I'm going to die, you'll save me. He's like, yes. If I need comforting, you'll comfort me. He's like, yes. If I'm depressed, you'll make me feel better. Yes. And she's like, okay. You know what I mean? It's like all the things that Shizuku has been looking for, right? Like the prince and her version of you know, the knight in white armor, like, you know, that's him. So I love all of that. And then she does now what I don't love is I don't love that he had so much time. Well, I don't love that Shizuku had so much time to talk back and forth with Hajime about this whole thing, right? The enemy just kind of stood there looking at her broken sword as they both had this big dialogue section. I thought that was like, okay, unrealistic. Second thing is she goes in to face her, you know, herself, and she does the one strike move. And it wasn't really a bombastic thing. It wasn't really animated great. It was just like, wacha. And I was like, okay, that kind of sucks. And the girl gets split in half, and then her hair piece falls off. And I was like, okay. So I think the build up to her final showdown, because she had Hajime on her side, she didn't truly face it on herself. But at the same time, I think that's part of Shizuku's character is there's a part of her missing that needs to be filled by someone else, and that is now Hajime. And that kind of is what completes Shizuku as a character. So I get it, but it still kind of sucks that she wasn't able to overcome it on her own. Like, she had to have Hajime there. And you can love that or hate that. I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm hot and cold on it. And then I guess the last thing, you know, so I mean, I didn't totally hate it. You know, I keep saying 50-50, 75%. But let me just say, I didn't totally hate it. They were just like that little, like, I really wish it would have done a little bit differently. But then the last moment is her hairpiece. You know, she gets really, not spoiled, but she gets really, like, demanding of him. She's like, I need a hairpiece with this. And he creates her, like, this little purple gem thing on for her hair. And she's like, she loves it. And, you know, she loves it, loves him. And he really delivered on it, and then she wanted to be princess carried, but he carries her to the next room or whatever. So it wasn't totally bad. I just would have loved to see something a little different, but the outcome, I thought, you know, with her confessing and stuff was still really good. So yeah, this episode of Arifureta was a good episode. It was another good episode of Arifureta. I would love to have seen Tio's fight be a little better. I don't think it was very good. Shizuku, it was serviceable, so I think, like, you know, it was fine, you know what I mean? Like, it was fine. I don't think I'm gonna go, like, you know, tell anybody of, like, oh yeah, Shizuku's fight was XYZ. But it looks like Yue and potentially Shia's fight may be, like, some, like, really good stuff, especially Yue, like that field of corpses and whatever she's gonna go through it seems like it's gonna be pretty wild. So she might have the coolest fight of the inner battles this season. So I guess it remains to be seen next episode. So I'll see you guys then. My friends, thank you guys so much for joining me on this Arifureta journey. We are pretty close to the end. We have 3 more episodes left, 14, 15, and 16 together. And that's going to be all she wrote this winter season, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, I think Arifureta also, I'm not sure. I think the dub might be live as well too. So if, extra support, for the dub, whether you're watching on the 7 Seas or you're watching on Crunchyroll, definitely support the dub, because I think, the dub is really, really good. I think it's one of the best dubs, in my opinion. I love the dub. And I'm going to end up rewatching this again. Probably as soon as it wraps up, as soon as the episode 16 launches, I'm going to rewatch the whole thing again. Just because I love rewatching the dub. And then hopefully we'll get an OVA soon as well, too. Probably in a couple of months. And of course, I'll be back to cover that as well. All right, my friends. I'm going to see you guys next week. Peace.